What's going on YouTube? My name's Kian. Today we're going to be taking a look at a couple of the spreadsheets that I use in order to track my finances. So I just used this for the month of August. It was my first month using the spreadsheet. I'm liking it so far. And if at any point in this video you guys are wanting to use the same spreadsheet that I use, I'm going to include a link down below in the description for you guys to download a copy and use it for yourselves. All right, let's take a look. All right, so the first spreadsheet that I have open here is called my journal spreadsheet. And basically what this is it's tracking all of the ins and outs of my accounts. So whatever expenses I had and whatever income I made throughout all of my accounts. As you can see, I've got my Discover card here. Then I go into my Venmo card, Apple card, regular Venmo payments, and then my bank account that I have through Ally. And then I just went through all of my accounts, took every single either deposit with the income or the outgoing expense for all of these red expenses, and I just wrote them down. I got the date, the account it came out, the type of expense it was, the amount it cost me, and then a little bit of notes just for me to keep track of my expenses and where they actually went. This spreadsheet's cool because it's pretty automatic. So say I wanted to add a different date here, I could just type in maybe August 6th, press enter, and then it fills in the year for me, which is super, super cool. And then for the account types, I can just double click on this and it puts a drop down menu. I'll show you guys how to set that up for your special accounts if you want to use this spreadsheet in the future. So it has all the different accounts that I use just right there ready for me to go. Also with the type of expense, I have all the different types that are the most recurring, so I don't have to go and type out each new expense, and that also works very well with the graphs. It's all automated. I'll show you guys that later. And then, so say August 6th, I made a purchase of my Discover card. It was a gas expense and I spent $30 on that. I can just throw that in there. Any expense is highlighted red, any income is highlighted green. And then I can just say I got gas. So that's basically the gist of how this works. It's very nice. You can do this very fast. And then all of this is automated in the future spreadsheets, as you'll see. So it all works nice. So when I'm tracking my finances, at the end of each month, I'll go through all of my accounts. I'll write it down here. It'll be the first thing that I do. And then I move forward to the next spreadsheets. All right, so moving over to the report spreadsheet. This one is basically takes that journal spreadsheet and then groups all of the different categories. So if we go back here, you can see how these are categories as types. So gas expense, I have a couple gift expenses, maybe entertainment. I come over to reports and then I can sort by those categories and it'll tell me how much I spent per month. So it uses this handy dandy little month start date and end date tracker to track which month those expenses actually occurred in. So if I want to see my work income, of course, for August, I can see that I made just over $4,000 in the month of August, which is pretty cool. And then if I wanted to see different types of income, maybe I go to other income, maybe I made $92. That was from my Venmo transfer that I made into my bank account. And then same for expenses. So right now I've got gas expenses listed right here, $287 from the month of August I spent on gas. But if I wanted to switch that maybe to entertainment expenses, that's $105. So this spreadsheet's really cool if you just want a quick overview, see how much money you're spending in each category throughout the year. If you want to track change over time and see if you're making progress, areas that you can improve upon. This spreadsheet's very cool for that. It also helps in later spreadsheets to get quick numbers for each different category, and I'll get into that in a couple seconds. Next, we have the net income spreadsheet, and basically this just tracks all of the categories that you have that are green inside of the journal. So I've got all my incomes minus all of my expenses, and then it has the expenses in this column, of course, and then income in this column, and then it has my net income, which is just subtracting these two to get this number. So this is just kind of cool, just tracks it over as the year goes on, and then it tallies up all the months. Of course, I don't have any entries for January through July is because I did not make the spreadsheet until now. So you guys can see maybe next year when it's filled up, I'll do a repeat of this video and we can keep track of how I'm doing so far. So Income, expenses, net income, pretty standard. It's just to see your overall progress. So this account spreadsheet is how you make those categories that we saw back in the journal. You can see how work income, rental income, and other income is all categorized as green, and then all of my expenses are down here categorized as red, as well as these types. So if we go back to the journal, we can see that in this type account, if I double click here, all of those red expenses are listed here. All of those account types are listed here. And then also my income is also listed in the type column. And this accounts thing, if there's any common expenses that you have, you want to list them in this section right here. And then any common account types that you have, you will list them here. And then that will just help you with the drop-down menus. Just make stuff a little bit faster. And then you can kind of automate this spreadsheet to your liking. So this is my overall monthly budget spreadsheet. So this is where all of the decisions are made and how much I want to spend, and then some estimations of how much I think I'm going to spend each month, as well as how much I'm going to take in. And then it'll give me a nice little budget breakdown when I actually go and enter in the actual amounts that I spend at the end of each month, and it'll come in these little graphs over here. It'll give me a nice percentage breakdown, which I really like. So how this spreadsheet works is, for the income bucket that we can see right here, we have all of the different incomes that I'm going to make throughout the month. And then we have the budget column and the actual column. So at the beginning of each month, say that the first of each month or maybe the 31st, whenever you want to do your budgeting, you can go through, put your paychecks, if you work a 9 to 5 or whatever income you make, you can throw into the category, and then you can estimate how much you think you're going to make per month. So I work at Optum and I get 2 paychecks per month. Sometimes I make 3 depending on the month. But for this last month, I thought I was going to make $2,200 the first paycheck and $2,200 the second paycheck, and I budgeted that accordingly. And then whatever you put in this column, it's going to sum it for you automatically down here at the bottom, which is very nice. And then same thing for expenses. So I went through and budgeted the amount of money I thought I was going to spend this month on groceries, eating out, transportation, entertainment, and gifts. And then it adds it up nice at the total expenses. Same thing for bills and subscriptions. The reason I don't have a ton of bills is because I currently live with my dad in his basement. I know, living the dream life, but it's going to save me a ton of money. Just got out of college, so still figuring out what I want to do with my life. But not a ton of bills coming in, very nice. I recommend that if you are super young, maybe you graduated college early like me and all your friends are still at college, if your parents are offering you a place to stay, take it. Gonna be worth it in the long run. I know it kind of sucks, but gotta make some sacrifices to get ahead. So my bills and subscriptions right here, I only pay for YouTube Premium and it's about $18 a month. So I threw that in there. And then for these 3 columns, all of these will get put into this monthly budget summary, which also has the budget and the actual amounts. So whatever you put in these columns here, the total income, total expenses, and total bills and subscriptions will run over here, and then it will add up the total, and then it will give you your income minus your bills and expenses, and it'll give you the total amount you have remaining after your necessary expenses and bills have been paid, and then you can budget the rest of that into your savings buckets, which I really like. So down here we have our savings and we have our investment categories, and I have my specific buckets that I wanted to save for, mainly the emergency fund, and then I'm also saving up. If you guys have watched my other videos, I'm going to try to buy a house hacking property. So I've got my house fund saving up here, and then for my investments, I'm putting money into my Roth IRA account, and then as well as my brokerage account. So those 2 categories are my main focuses, and I'm going to be putting money there. Didn't put any money there this month in August, but I'll show you guys my September budget as I just went through that yesterday, and I made all of those arrangements so we can go through that later. So as you guys can see here, at the end of paying all my bills and subscriptions as well as my expenses, I had about $1,700 left over. And so I wanted to boost my emergency fund up. As you can see down here, actually, in my monthly goals, if I uncheck these so you can see it clearly, I had a couple goals, which I wanted to supply my emergency fund with $3,000. So I had $1,200 left to do for that. So I budgeted that amount left of the $1,700. And then down here, it would actually say that now I only had $502 left over. So I went forward and threw that other $502 that I wanted to budget into my house fund, which I was able to do that too. So this monthly goal checklist, super nice. It's just a nice way to set goals so you actually know what you want to do each month. I found that if you have clear goals in mind at the beginning of each month, it's very easy to stick to them. If they're written down right in front of you when you're going and running the numbers, you're just going to be much more likely to actually accomplish those goals rather than just having them up here in your mind. I know I'm a very forgetful person. I know a ton of people are very forgetful. So write down your goals. It's very nice to have them on your financial spreadsheet, your financial goals on the financial spreadsheet. I know, crazy idea, but it works for me. So utilize that if you guys are going to use this spreadsheet. Okay, so after you have your total income up here in this column, in column C, and then your expenses and your bills and subscriptions gives you the total remaining, and then you can put those buckets into your savings or investments. And then I have down here what's called a zero-based budget. So at the end of each month, you want to make this category 0. So wherever you want to put that money, you're going to have your expenses, your bills, and then your savings, and you want all of that, your income minus your savings as well as your expenses, to equal 0. You want every dollar to have a job. There's no reason not to. You just don't want floating money out there, because I find that if you don't have a specific job for your money and you don't have a specific bucket for that to go into, whether that be expenses or whether that be savings and investments, it tends to just disappear. I know it's kind of a crazy phenomenon. If you just have money sitting there, a lot of people just spend that money. Maybe you go and buy an extra coffee or buy a pair of shoes or whatever the hell you want to do. That money just kind of disappears. So having a budget where every dollar is accounted for, it's going to help you stay on track. It's going to help you meet those goals that you made. And I recommend that. That's why this budget's very nice. Okay, so after you went through and budgeted and you went through and followed that budget throughout the month, at the end of each month, so I did this just a couple days ago, August 31st or September 1st actually, because I was a day late. I went through and actually filled out the journal, right, that I went through earlier. I filled out this journal, and then that journal gave me clear numbers of this in my reports and as well as my net income. It all did that automatically. So then when I wanted to fill out my different buckets here for my expenses and my income, it was very easy. All I went to was reports, and I was like, what did I make in my work income? Well, I made this much money. But between 2 paychecks, very easy. I just threw that in here as well as my miscellaneous income. You could actually also go to just the journal in itself and just do a couple quick checks. So that's what I made there. Very, very easy. And then as well as expenses, you just come see what did I spend on groceries. Come over here, go to your groceries expense, $29.91. Easy. My dad pays for most of the groceries. Also a nice little side benefit from living with your parents. So then after you go through and you put all of your actual numbers in at the end of each month, it's very nice because you can see the comparisons to what you budgeted and what you actually spent. And then you can go through and recalibrate that then for the next month. So as you guys can see here, I had budgeted that I was going to make $4,400 this month. I made a little bit over that with the Venmo transfer, which was kind of nice. And then I actually went over budget a little bit. The reason I had $2,500 budgeted here is because I still owed a little bit on my car that I bought back in April. So I went forward and I paid that off. But my total expenses was a little bit overboard. Didn't love to see that, but what are you gonna do? So then I can now go and recalibrate that for September. And then each month I'll get a little bit closer to the actual number I spend each month. And then I'll actually have a good understanding of where my money's going, and I'll be able to budget effectively. The last thing I wanted to touch on are these handy dandy graphs over here. If you're a visual person, I know I am. They're very nice to see where your money's actually going. So I have my overall budget breakdown of where the overall amount of money in a broad sense is going. So I've got my savings here. I saved 38% of my income, and then 61% of my income went towards expenses, and then that lonely $17 on YouTube Premium, best purchase I ever made, by the way, is now this little sliver right here, if you guys can barely see that. And then I also have this expenses breakdown, so that will take this category, your actual amounts, and it'll throw it in here. So like 90% of my income just went through my transportation cost, and then little by little these other categories get filled in, and it's all automatic. If you just fill in this column, these graphs will auto-populate, which is very, very nice. I highly recommend you guys take a look at this budget. Again, the link will be down below in the description for you to download a copy of it and use it for yourself. I highly recommend it. Okay, so we just talked about my August budget, and now that is all done and dusted, gone forever. And now we are going to take a look at what I budgeted for September. September is a little weird in terms of income because I've now been working full-time for just over a month, about a month and a half, and we just got our bonus. So I've got a little bit more income coming in this month, and it's September, so I get paid 3 times this month instead of 2 times. So, because I just got paid on September 1st, so I've got 2 more paychecks coming in, but we'll break it down for you anyway. All right, so let's take a look at my budget breakdown. So for my income, since I got paid on September 1st, I knew what that paycheck was going to be, 81, 71, and 70 cents. Don't forget about the 70 cents, very important. So I budgeted that in there, and then going back on my last paychecks, I make about $21.95, so I threw that in there. So I'm taking about $12,500 this month. It's an anomaly month. I'm not going to have that much money each month for a long time, but it's very nice to see those big numbers, especially as a 21-year-old. It's very nice. Moving along then to my expenses category. As you can see, I budgeted $50 each month for groceries, $75 for eating out, $300 in transportation, $250 in entertainment, $50 in gifts. I like to just have that little cushion there just in case I want to treat my girlfriend or my family or something like that. And then $100 in miscellaneous expenses. And the way I got those numbers was I went back to my August budget and I saw that I spent about $30 in groceries, $63 in eating out, $100 in entertainment, $67 in gifts. That was my sister's birthday, so I had to get her a couple of gifts for that. And then my transportation's a little weird because I had to pay that car payment, so I just went back to my journal, and then I saw my Toyota Prius, beautiful car by the way, highly recommend, get the Toyota Prius, save so much money in gas, unbelievable. I think I'm at like 53 miles to the gallon or something crazy like that for 2011, beautiful. But I saw that it was about $2,200 for that Toyota Prius payoff, and then going back to my August budget here, I spent about $2,400, just over that. So I budgeted in my September about $300. That's about how much I spent on gas. So that's what I have going there for a total of $825 in my expenses to budget. So we'll see how closely I come at the end of September. I'll make another video for you guys and we'll see how close I came, and then we'll recalibrate each month to see how much closer I can get to the actual amount I spend each month. All right, moving forward to the bills and subscriptions. Again, not a ton of stuff here, just that YouTube Premium account. And now I see, of course, I got it at $17.27 because that is how much I paid last month. Although YouTube's been jacking the prices on me. When I signed up for this, it was like $14. Now it's all the way up to $17.27. Crazy stuff. It's gonna break the bank. So then as we went over in my August budget, all of these 3 top boxes come over to this top left box in my monthly budget summary. As you can see, the 12.5, the 8.25, and the 17, these all get subtracted, and then it gives me my total remaining, which is just over $11,700. So then I can put that amount of money into my savings and investment buckets down here. So my main goals for September was to max out my Roth IRA contributions here at number 1. I wanted to fine tune my monthly spending amounts, and then I also have to recoup some of the losses I made in one of my accounts. So this is my main goals. So the first one being maxing out my Roth IRA. I had 5,100 and some change left to max that out, so I budgeted to max that out. And then I put $1,000 into that brokerage account that I wanted to recoup. I wanted to build that back up. And then I put all of that in, and then it gave me that I had about $5,500 left to budget. So I threw the rest of that, since my emergency fund was fully funded in the previous month. I threw my house fund up there, and I put the remaining $5,500 in that. Of course, I'm not gonna actually throw that in there because I don't even actually have that money yet, because I'm budgeting in advance for my next 2 paychecks that will come in 2 weeks and 4 weeks respectively. So I've already transferred the money in my Roth IRA, so I can basically check this box, which is awesome. And then, yeah, so I'm gonna continue to fine tune these budgets. I'll come back with another video when the end of September hits and I get my actual numbers for this month, and I'll let you guys know how I did in the month of September. Again, this spreadsheet works really good for me. I know it's a little bit more complex than some people's spreadsheets, a little bit less complex than some people's spreadsheets. It's a nice happy medium. I find that it works for me. I like how everything's a little bit more automated, so I don't have to go and type everything out every single time. But if you guys are looking for the spreadsheet, again, down below in the description, copy it. You guys can use it for yourself. It works great. And then, yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you all for watching. If you haven't already and these videos are helping you out, or if you try this spreadsheet out and it works good for you, please leave a like down below and subscribe for future content. If you guys want to continue with my journey, I'll keep sharing it with you guys. You guys can follow along, and then maybe I like comparing myself to other people on the internet. So if you guys like doing that too, you can follow along with my journey, and maybe you'll do even better than me. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all the support, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.